Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Turn for Two.
This is
And
Rob.
this is Anthony. And today, this is our special holiday episode.
Yes, Merry Christmas to all of you out there
Yes.
who celebrate that holiday.
We are the
Happy
Nightmare.
Boxing Day for our
Yep.
Canada people.
Which there are 11% of, so.
Yes, hey, we'll take that. I hope you guys got everything you wanted and everything was wonderful for you.
Got a lot of Lorcana, hopefully.
If every pack you opened had an enchanted, that would be the best.
Yep.
And I hope that for you. It's exciting. We made it so this quarter of the year that we've been doing this, and
Episode 8, I think.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
So 8 weeks. Oh, that's not math. That's not quite a quarter of the year. I'm happy where we're at. It's 2 months in, so happy 2-month anniversary, co-host. But
we can talk about your big thing that I talked about last
that's
week.
true. So what he is referring to here is I got the invite from Amazon to buy a box at cost. Well, not at cost.
Which is
at
retail. Which was funny because I got, when I left for the city, so I was in the city, what would it be, from we're recording a couple days ago now?
Yeah.
And when we're on the train, I'm clearing all my notifications from overnight, and it's like, oh, more Amazon invites went out, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I was like, hopefully Rob gets his. And then when I was in Nintendo, that's when I got your text, and I was like, nice.
Yeah.
And then my box actually came on the 22nd.
And how was the draft we did out of that box?
Oh, that was great. Well, you got your box, so we don't have to draft out of it now.
So he unceremoniously tore through his box and then went to bed.
Yeah.
As opposed to some really sick drafting we could have done.
Because that box was good. That was a cracked
box. That would have been a
box.
really good draft box.
Yeah.
But I'm happy for you. You got good stuff.
And I'm hoping yours is the same way.
I'm hoping mine is the same, if not better. I will take the same, though. That's a solid box. Tell them a couple of things you got.
Yeah, so we got a shiny fairy godmother, legendary fairy godmother.
Legendary fairy godmother.
A Cinderella that flew right out of my hands into Rob's.
That's actually my deck right now.
Yeah.
That was a quick trade.
3-drop Pinocchio, or 3 turn for 3 Pinocchio.
You got your 7th bell.
My 7th bell. 7th or 8th, I think. Yeah, I think it's 7th.
So that is your beast.
That's my beast.
Your beast relentless. That's really funny. Well, anyway, it was a really good box.
Another red scar.
Oh, that's right.
I think that's probably my top things that I got out of that. Oh, and the silver Tremaine.
And some really solid shinies,
too.
I just trade a few of those out as
well.
Yep. So hoping to have my same box. I will report that. I, however, 100%, as much as I don't like to use that phrase, will be drafting out of that box. So if I don't have people to draft, that box will remain closed on my computer desk waiting until that time happens. Because that's the excitement of this game, in my opinion. I mean, I love playing the game in general, but I just the thought processes you have to come up with for draft are crazy. And I will give a few shout outs actually for some very interesting draft combination cards that I had completely flew under my radar. Speaking of that phrase, that have manifest while we were playing, and when we get to the sort of maybe a cooking time, we can talk about a couple of those little pieces there.
All right, so moving on to Stonk review. Set 1 has all gone down.
Yeah, a bit.
Yeah, it's all gone down a bit, but it's all, especially enchanteds for set 1 are all starting to stabilize. And
so I would say the regular cards are down about 10%.
Yep.
Not significant at this point. That's $1 for most cards, and $2 here and there.
Yeah.
So that's easy to trade, which you're not feeling like you're losing value. So everything there feels more fair.
Yeah, and also everything's still getting reprinted. Shop Disney on the 21st had a big restock, and I was actually in the city on the 22nd, which I mentioned. Mm-hmm. And as I showed you, the Disney store had a ton of starter decks and a bunch of these set 1 gift collections.
Lots.
Like a whole wall full.
Whole display,
Yeah, so I also met someone there that I promoted the podcast to. So
if
you are listening.
Thanks for listening if you are.
But I mean, it was just nice to be able to see someone be like, yeah, I'm interested in getting into the game, be able to just talk to them, be like, this game is really fun. It's definitely a game you should pick up and play.
Yeah, and it's so easy to pick up and play, and with that kind of accessibility, that's really, really
which
good.
is what we want, which is what everyone wants.
So the fact that they are continually, as they promised and said they were going to, printing set 1 into the ground, those cards are still going to drop in value. They're not going to go significantly lower until they just keep printing and printing and printing. You can just buy 10 packs whenever you want in any store. Right. Then maybe they'll go even more. I feel like they're getting to the point where there's not much lower they can go. It's just like any other card game now where cards are available, and just you can buy thousands of packs of Pokemon, but Ionos still are $90.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So those sorts of things are still going to keep the game healthy. That's what I think is one of the indicating factors of a healthy game where, this particular meta game is going really well, so these couple cards shoot up in value. Right. You want that, or otherwise every time you open a pack, it's like, I'm just losing money.
Right.
So I also think that people are going to slow down on buying them. And I hope that all those scalpers got effed by the fact that they did manage to print these things back so fast.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I
digress there.
I was thinking about that the other day too with like Pokemon. It's like Pokemon booster boxes are MSRP 164. It's just one of those things that it's like when you really sit back and look, like most local game stores are starting to sell them for 120, especially because they get so many. Like Lorcana could get to a point like that, especially with set one. I think they will get to a point where you can get a booster box for 140 at retail, and even after a while, especially when they have more stock and it's like stuff sitting on shelves, it'll go down to 130.
And then you could just be like, hey guys, let's just pick up a box and do a big draft, and it doesn't hurt, you know. But to your end there, I can buy Pokemon boxes for $90 online, $95 online. I realize that's not going to my LGS, but I'm not going to spend $35 more dollars on a box when I can get it for that much cheaper. That's like I'm a consumer too. So I always say support your LGS. I think that's fantastic, and I always do, except for in this instance where if I'm going to buy that much bulk at once, I'm going to save that kind of money. Right. And to that end, I feel that
we'll get there.
Two's almost there.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're going to slow down on that because they got to start printing 3 and then 4 and so on. But 1 is always.
I'm just shocked 2 has lasted this long.
That's true.
Which they, like we said before, they didn't really say they were printing more of it, but you can tell
me they were going to.
I mean, the fact that Amazon's still sending out invites and still having these boxes, it's also kind of showing like it's keeping people in it longer. It's like, okay, we can wait. We might get another invite.
Yeah, that's true.
So it just gives
and also. I'm sorry.
All the set 1 stuff still getting printed. It's like at least it makes it like, okay, I don't feel like when I see packs on the shelves I have to buy them anymore. It's like, cool, they have Lorcana. Like, let me text my friends who want Lorcana who don't have any. It's like I no longer feel like, it's Lorcana. It might be the only chance I get to buy these cards.
Exactly. And to the other point you were making a little bit before, I got the invite and I immediately bought the box.
Right.
I have pretty much what I need out of set 2.
Yeah.
Barring a few pieces, I still need a Cinderella. But I ended up buying the box anyway.
Right.
So I'm excited about just drafting out of this box. You know that's one of my favorite things to do in all games, and this is still the best draft game. We've had this conversation.
I mean, if we ever go to Zombie Planet, ask anyone, hey, what do you remember about Robin Lorcana? He likes to draft it. The 1 week you were in the city was the 1 week we didn't draft Lorcana.
I know, and I also probably won't do it next week because I feel like I've been like getting like draft. It's just exciting to do it. But that being said, with access to a box like that, and be like, hey, let's the 4 of us get together, let's draft out of the box, and if you want, you can just buy the packs, because I don't feel like I'm not really gonna be able to get any more of these. I want to kind of build up my collection.
And you could go like, hey, you can call Josh and Dave since they're starting to get back into their we got Dave into the game for Christmas. It was a Christmas gift to him, and Josh is just getting back into it after being away from it. And it's like, hey, you guys want to split this box? I spent, 160, probably 156.
I don't care about tax. It's 143.
Yeah, 143. We split it 4 ways and we all get packs and we draft. It's like, that's fun.
And it's a lot of fun.
Right.
You can make a very big draft out of it. Everybody gets 6 packs, which I think is actually the way it's supposed to be done. Most times people do it with 4 because then you have.
And with Lorcana, you don't have to work. But yeah, I think with more packs to it gives you more options. It's like instead of just being like, all right, 48 cards, we pull 8 out and just work with whatever I grabbed. It's like, okay, yes, strategically grab cards, but now it's like you have to take some of these really good cards out. Now what do you do?
That interests me in the way that it allows people and everybody that's playing, I get to see what they're doing. And my thought process are, okay, here's 5 good cards I don't have room for because I already have, 39 other good cards. Which of these do I take out, or what to keep and what to kind of pitch, or to build up strategies where it's like, okay, I can run a dwarf deck because I have so many now, or I can get that synergy to go. And like we're going to talk about in Cooking Time, a couple of those ones I saw in some of the draft synergies, you would have the opportunity to do these on a regular basis.
Yeah, I can run 5 Wimpod in the deck if I run 1 Galissapod.
Exactly.
With that, we're going to move right on to meta-analysis, where not a lot has happened since we last recorded on Monday.
There's not been a lot of big tournaments. Also, it's that holiday time.
Week,
People aren't going to be going out for big tournaments when they are busy doing holiday things, most likely.
Important things with their family,
Most likely, right? Yeah. But there was a decent-sized tournament, 42 players.
Yep.
That was on 12/18/23. It was actually the day after we did our last cast, I believe. Called the Quibbles Lorcana Win a Case Tournament.
Quibbles.
The organizers, Quibbles TCG.
It was the day before.
Shout out to them, I suppose. The winner was a Steel Song list entitled Song of My People, but there is a ink in apostrophes in the middle, so I don't know if it's of my pink people, of my pink eeple. I'm not sure. But either way, fun name by Samuel, quote unquote, Howdy Partner. Steel Song Flute. So let's see. It's right here.
Yep.
When you see this, what do you say? There's a difference or something that you think is interesting about it?
Interesting. I wouldn't say, well, I guess it's not interesting because you play it, but I would say the Doc is a little out there. I'm not used to seeing Doc in lists other than yours.
I think Doc is a fantastic card. I don't understand it in Steel Song. I'm trying to figure out
what you're trying to Lantern. So my guess is
there's nothing even that expensive other than the 4-cost Cindy, which you can evolve from the 2-cost,
7 cost
from the other Cindy, which he doesn't run the gray Cindy.
No.
I also find interesting a one of that it's a one of, because I think that is ridiculous. But again, this is another first place list with a one of, so maybe I'm doing something wrong. The Ursula's Shell necklace I have never seen in a deck ever.
It's bad. I mean, it's not great. It's just, I guess, if you have
a lot of uninkable space, I suppose.
Well,
4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I feel like you don't.
I mean, okay. To me, it's if you have that one extra lore or ink you can burn to draw a card, but it's like, I don't think I want to do that to draw a card. I would rather fill it with another song. Like, you're only running 8 songs. Oh, no, 8.
There's
never mind.
Plenty of songs.
Yeah, it's because they put those there for some reason.
That's 8, and that's 12, and that's 16.
Yeah.
Just quote unquote low for Steel Song.
Right.
But again, first place is first place.
There's also a whole new world. So
20. Okay, there's the 20. Okay. So it's an interesting build. I like the idea of trying new things. I think Ursula's Shell Necklace, when you're playing a song every turn, draws you an extra card. That's really good. I just don't know why the one-up. Take something else out if that's the case. And Sleepy's Food's fantastic. We learned about that, but a lot of lists are not running it. And actually, there was a couple other Steel Songs in this
top 8.
Yeah.
Which one other shocking thing is Steel Song was both top 4 decks, so 3 and 4, but until you get to top 8, you don't see a single red-purple bounce, and you do not see any red-blue bounce in this tournament. Yeah, or at least in the top 16.
There's not in the top. No, this only goes to the top 8. The top 7, actually, because this top 16 is an honorable mention as per request, but it is an absolutely basic list, and I'm not going to speak about it. So the regular bounce is where and I believe that's probably 5th place. The way that they wrote it is the first one. Let's take a look at that one. See what is in there. If it's just straight up regular bounce. One of Elsa.
Don't like that. The one of Tremaine is only reason it's like okay, it's just because it's a shift target if you have it.
I don't know. I don't understand a one of anything, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 one ofs in this deck, which is mind boggling. So I think regular bounce would be a misnomer. Purple Dragon, I like that. I still play 2. Dedicate some cards. There's plenty of cheap things in here, I'm going to assume. Let's see. Some 1 Minnie Mouse, some 1 Olaf for the people who can pronounce things correctly. 7, I guess, there. The 2-cost Pinocchio, which needs to be in everyone. There should be more of them.
There's only 1 in that deck.
There's only 1. So there's not that many easy bounce. So, well, it's still a crazy card.
I also love how the only expensive thing on that list that pops right off the edge is the $30 Maleficent Monsters Dragon.
Scar at 11 is not bad. It's an interesting list, actually. I would not call this regular bounce. It takes up a lot of screen. And a hard 4 of Yzma is interesting to me.
And 4 of Lady Tremaine.
I mean, I play 4 of Lady
3
Tremaine.
Dragon, 3 Be Prepared. I guess that's also not normal.
No, I used to only run 3 Be Prepared, but it's just so important.
4 Goat.
is their 4 goat.
They also run the crab and the rabbit.
I like the crab a lot. I don't like the rabbit. Rabbit does not impress me.
If the rabbit was inkable, I'd be fine with it. I think
sure, it would be much more expensive if it was inkable. It's people do lots of good things with it, but whenever somebody plays a rabbit, I'm like, okay, so you're not really putting a threat on the board. And you're drawing some cards. That's good.
It also only turns for 1, so it's not a threat.
Right. So I don't even care. They have to send it at one of my things that I'm busy turning with. But okay, interesting build for 4th place. But 5th place. That was the closest that I want to say it correctly.
Ruby Amethyst.
Thank you. Ruby Amethyst bounce made it. I think that's very interesting.
Yeah.
That may be a meta shift there. So I really do want to talk about the most, however, is 2nd place in this tournament.
You're very excited.
I am. I think this is a really cool. This is Mufasa Murder Mystery. You know I love alliteration, and that is a fantastic name because the whole point of this is to just keep killing Mufasa.
Like Mufasa.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite cards. Kurt Spies? Like Weiss. It looks like Spies. Or Spice.
Spice and Weiss.
Either way, Kurt, congratulations on this one. I love this.
Such an
It's just really cool. All right, so I'm gonna quickly go through all the cards in it. 3 Doc. Doc is fantastic. 4 Lady Tremaine. We already talked about why Lady Tremaine is useful. You can even banish your own move. You can't banish your own Mufasa, but you're just continually doing board control. Lantern to make things cheaper. Maleficent because you want Mufasa to pop into a Maleficent feels real nice unless there isn't a target for Maleficent to hit. Then you just have a 7/5 dragon turns for 2. 2 Maui is a little interesting. That's lower than I would think, but I guess it's not what you're kind of looking for, and also not something you want Mufasa to pop into.
Yep.
Minnie Mouse. It's 3 cost, the evasive one. You do a lot with that. You have Teeth and Ambitions to kind of use off of it.
It also turns for 2.
It does turn for 2. I think that's a really good card. I may even put more of that in there in my personal. I'm going to adopt some.
I was going to say this just looks like a list you were gonna run.
It's something I've already been putting together because the Rapunzel Mother Gothel package. I have bells in mind because there's so many things that are getting damaged in here.
So many legendaries in the deck.
So yeah, there's the 4 Rapunzel, the 4 Mufasa, 4 Mother Gothel, 2 Radigan is an interesting play, and that's a card that I've been using a lot in draft. It does a lot of really important things. It can exert when it comes into play, which is a very powerful ability, which is why I run the Pinocchio.
Yep.
But it also does the LeFou readying thing.
Right.
And it also turns for 2. Like it has a lot of really good value.
Yep.
And it's uninkable though. But as we counted while we were trying to figure this out, there's 12 uninkables in here, so that fits nicely if you can make that work.
And I think the deck we were talking to, the Stitch, I don't think they don't need the Stitches in there. You could probably run the LeFou like you just said, that readies your stuff. Not that you need it. Or
there's 4 Stitch and 4 Rockstar Stitch.
I just don't see
the point.
You could run 4 LeFou and 4 of the Scar. Another legendary in the deck.
That's also uninkable.
Is he? Oh, he is uninkable.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but also he's just one of those things like it's not a deck that runs Be Prepared, but at least it handles board control.
I suppose.
And it's like you want Mufasa to die, but you also, if you don't have Mufasa out, like hitting a Scar off of Mufasa feels good because it has Rush anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if you can kill it with the Teeth and Ambitions, pop out Scar. It's like okay, white board.
Sure. I agree with you that Mufasa needs some targets.
Yeah.
So at 5 cost, you want to get something that is at least similarly valued when it takes something off the top. And I don't see a lot of that in here. I see the Lady Tremaine, the Maui, Mufasa, Radigan. I wouldn't be sad about a Rapunzel if I could draw some cards off of her, but that's an iffy one. The 6 cost Snow White, which I'm about to talk about, I really like that. I'm not sold on Stitch at all, but again, 6 costs, so you can get some value out of it. The 5 cost Queen. I like the Queen package. I think it's just good if you're going to be playing Amber. That's just a payoff card.
But then it hurts to get some of that stuff like Mother Gothel, where it's like, okay, here's 3 damage, which is nice if you have 2 Mufasas. It's Mother Gothel, then Rapunzel.
Yeah, so you always you can't control what's on the top in this color, so you just have to get lucky. I just would like to see some more things that maybe cost a little bit more. I don't want to change the curve too much, but maybe have a little more ideal targets and exciting things to hit. But again, 2nd place is nothing to sneeze at.
Ditch the Stitch. Ditch the Stitch.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I really used to love Stitch Rockstar. It turns for 3, and that is really what it does. I have not been... The ability is so infrequently used. Especially, you're going to put a Mother Gothel and then turn her sideways so somebody can plink her for a 1.
As someone who loves Stitch too, it's just not worth it. Like
No.
Stitch is probably my favorite Disney character.
Yeah,
I love
I'm up
seeing
there with
him.
that.
It's just like it's not. Even Surfer Stitch is at the point for me where it's like, okay, cool, he draws you cards when he comes into play.
Yeah, that was one of the cards I was thinking it would be a nice Mufasa target.
Yeah. It only costs one more than the Rockstar, and at least at that point you're going, boom, 7 cost, draw cards, and now, next turn you have an 8 bot.
I would like... Ooh, that's not bad. I would like to see some Be Prepareds in here. You know what feels good about having playing red is playing Be Prepared, and it doesn't hurt to play Be Prepared when you have a Mufasa or 2 in play. Imagine you have 2 Mufasa, you Be Prepared, you start with 2 things in play.
Two things in play.
Pretty yummy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take some of the ideas here and make some adjustments as well. But this is a really cool list. That's why I was excited to talk about it.
Yeah.
So as far as tournaments go, this is really all that's happening. Yeah, that makes sense. Again, there's not going to be probably much for between this week and next week. Again, because of the holiday season. Yep. That being said, I've been playing a decent amount of ladder, and I gotta tell you what I have been seeing a ton of is aggro.
Yeah.
I have seen so many 1-cost Lilos and 1-cost Maleficents just littering the board, and it's frustrating. I don't know if that's why when we go to cooking time, I'm going to be talking about a lot of steel lists.
Yeah.
But it's oppressive. We talked about it before. I thought it was a good idea or direction to go in. But oh my god, if I see another turn like one Lilo or another turn one, and they don't even usually have the Simba because they're like, I don't care, I'm just going to keep dropping things. You have to keep killing them every turn. So you just pay for cards that count. I turn it once and get lore. Like that's the entire crux of the deck.
Do you miss my Lilo into?
I almost do.
Lilo into Simba, into Cheshire, into like Rapunzel to heal the Cheshire, into something 5-cost.
I do miss.
Into Kuzco or into Maximus back in the good old days.
Those were the good old days, way back when
you knew exactly what I had in my hand without me even saying it.
Because it was the same setup every time. It's interesting. I play an aggro list, like I said, myself. But I would say of the, 20 or 30 games that I've got to squeeze in over the past 6 days or so, probably 30-40% of those were against aggro. But I have a lot of steel lists. If we go to my decks, just for giggle. Oh, this is my
decks.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of my 15 decks are steel.
Yeah.
So they do well against that. I'm not really scared about it. Oh, yeah, Rise of the Sun Pump also has steel. So I'm very excited about the fact that that's becoming bigger because what I have been really crafting and working with all has the kill spells for that. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, and with that, let's get into
cooking time. So the first thing that I have recently been working on, this is, I said, the deck we were going to talk about this week, and so here it is. This is Emerald Steel discard with a chipmunk.
Yep.
That's what it's called.
Some crazy discard strats, bro.
That's, it seems like a Rick and Morty kind of thing to say. So the whole point of this deck is to discard and control. It's Emerald and Steel, so you have the discard and the Steel does the killing of things. I started it really low to the ground, and then I just ended up curving out. As you can see, there's a perfect sort of drop-off curve on this. Lots of 2s, a little bit less 3s, a little bit less 4s, 5, 6, 7, and so on. So I don't know if this is the final build, but I really like the way it's landing.
Yeah.
The whole point of this is to try and start with the Bucky.
Yeah.
This is a similar build to what we were talking about with Matt a few weeks ago. Bucky is a 1/1 for 2 with Ward. But he says, whenever you play a Floodborn character, each opponent chooses and discards a card. So that's one of your primary discard engines. Now, it is a 1/1. It's easy to kill. But it has Ward. So you just leave it there. You don't turn with it. You just kind of leave it there. Make them have to have some sort of board wipe to take it down.
Yeah.
What you get out of that, however, is a lot of passive discard you don't even think about. So at 4, there are 2 cards from the new set that are Floodborn. The first one is Jafar Dreadnought, which is a card I've already been using in a lot of decks anyway. He is a 3/4, if you guys don't remember, shifts for 2. During your turn, whenever he banishes another character, you get to draw a card, which I found is actually only on your turn, which is sad. I thought that was just in general, which would have been a little bit better. But still, it is a 4-cost that does that. The other 4-cost that does that, I don't have in the deck right now, but that's Donald Duck. So that's 2 4-costs. That's a lot of options at a cheap cost that'll allow you to get a free discard. But after that, I put in just a package of them. I have the Emo Beast. I have Tinkerbell Giant Fairy, which everybody knows I love, and Cinderella Stoutheart.
All the cards that you love are in here. Nice.
And they're all Floodborn. So you have a good late game. You are disrupting in the beginning with your discard. And guess what I put in? This little piece of something. Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo made it into this deck. You know what's really cool is Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo when Lucifer sings it. This cat can sing Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. And guess what happens? He bounces and puts himself back into play. I've done it a couple of times. Nobody is expecting it. It's very, very, very fun. There's not a ton of come into play abilities that you can use with this. There is Benja to destroy some items. I guess you could do the 2-cost Cinderella to filter your hand. But the other one that's really super fun to do, Tinkerbell. So
2 damage to everything.
Exactly. There's a lot of interesting little things. I am still working on it. There are tweaks to the list, but the power of discard is real, and I think people are starting to solve it. I'm not saying it's me, but I think it's very interesting where you can go with it.
Yeah.
The prints I have right now, the 1/3 bodyguard resist one, is kind of a placeholder. I'm not exactly sure, but it's been working pretty well in the matches that I've been playing.
Yeah.
Daisy Duck was added to my original Frogro, the green-gray beast deck that I built, because that card is just really good, and it's obviously good in the discard engine.
Yeah.
And just for giggles, we also have Prince John to draw you some cards off of those discards. So
no whole new world.
No whole new world, because you know how much I hate that card, and it's only necessary when it's necessary. This is your whole new world.
Yeah.
Prince John. So if you whole new world with Prince John, yes, that can get really silly. That being said, I'm just happy to draw a couple of cards. I don't need that much. It pretty much does itself. Prince John draws cards. The Jafar can draw cards. Beast draws cards. There's plenty of things that are drawing cards. I don't need that terrible card in here. Sudden Chill has been working for me as well. I used to hate that card.
To be fair, I think part of running a whole new world isn't for yourself. It's like to mill your opponent out when you can, especially towards the end of the game when they got 14 cards in their deck. You go, okay, whole new world, get rid of them.
There are instances where you can use it offensively. I've actually won a game getting somebody out because I played Whole New World twice in a turn.
Sang it twice.
I sang it once and I played it. I hard casted it the second time because he was playing red-blue popsicle and was just drawing. I'm like, all right, I'm not doing well otherwise. Here's a strategy. And he had a hand, like 6 cards in his hand. Whole New World did. I played 1 card down. Did another whole new world, a whole new world, and he had 2 cards left in deck, and that was a lot of fun. So nice. I see you can do some things in that regard, but I hate that card, and I'm glad that it's not in this build. But it's something that's worth playing if you guys are interested to it. I have it on Dreamborn. I can put it up. It's currently private because I just always do that. I don't know why. I don't want people stealing my beautiful.
I was gonna say I think Dreamborn we should make a turn for 2 accounts so we can put all of our decks on there for people. Point. We'll have that up by next week.
You show me what to do, and I'll give you all my lists as well. I will take anybody's constructive criticism. Tell me what I'm doing right. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. I want to make this deck better. But tell me about yours.
Yeah. So mine this week it's a short segment, but it's green-blue. So getting to run Pete and more things always feels good.
I know you love Pete.
But this is just like, it's a quick ramp deck. It's a deck that our friend that we play Lorcana with, Josh, it's his deck, but it's with some changes that I would like to make to the deck. It runs a lot of good cards. It runs a lot of stuff with Ward, but not everything has Ward. So I'd like to throw Aurora in here because you already run the Cogsworth. So giving things resist and Ward feel really good.
Okay.
Being able to ramp yourself to where you want to be, and then having your Hades and Genie on the jobs for board control and just not being able to target them, especially you put Hades or Genie in and they can't get rid of it. Without having, Lady Tremaine or Be Prepared or something. It's got the 5-cost Maleficents that
the 3/6, my
the
favorite
3/6, the one
one.
from the box that you have two
I
of.
love that card so much.
It's got 4 Gaston in it, which that's one of the cards. It turns for 3. That's part of the reason it's in there. You also, look at the top 3. That might be what I replace Aurora with, or Nothing to Hide, which is one of Josh's favorite cards.
He does love that card. I don't get it.
His is more for how he wants to play, which I get it, but I don't. It's like he likes to look at people's hands. It's like, all right, I want to do this and this and this because your hands have this, which I understand.
Yeah.
But I feel like so much of Lorcana just about right now is just about going in and just like learning their deck as you play. It's like, sure, you can look at their hand, but it's like, you really want to waste the one Lord or one ink just to do that?
I get that it replaces itself and draws a card. So if you just happen to have one that's a fine card to play.
Yep.
So it really just says, look at your opponent's hand without using a resource other than turning a card.
Yeah.
So that's interesting enough, but you don't know what they're going to ink. You can get an idea of what they have and what they can do to what you have, but they're going to draw a card the next turn that may completely change their entire play strategy, let alone what you think they're going to do.
Right.
So I just don't see the value in it with that. But he is an excellent player, and he has a lot of interesting ideas. Perhaps there is some merit to it. I just don't personally see it. I like this deck. This is something you've been excited about.
Yeah.
And I need you to build so we can play it.
Yeah, 100%.
So my other deck I do actually want to talk about for cooking time is this very silly Fairy Godsteel deck. Again, this is another child of Josh that I was talking to him about originally when he was telling me how good Fairy Godmother Mystic Armorer is. And I said, I think it is. I just don't understand how it goes or anything. He's like, oh, let me tell you. And we started talking about these cheap one costs like the Captain Hook, Pascal, Madame Mim is in this, which we didn't know originally was a card. It's just a whole bunch of cheap things that you can chuck right at people's heads with Fairy Godmother, and then get them back to your hand and keep the ball rolling. It's very low to the ground. There is only 12 cards that cost 5 or more. That's the 4 Fairy Godmothers, the 4 Beasts, and the 4 Tinkerbell Giant Fairies.
Enchanted Tinkerbells might add.
Obviously, because that's the only way you can run that card. But the way that it works is you just play cheap threats that kill things until you can effectively draw into Fairy Godmother, and then use Fairy Godmother to chuck things at other things very easily. I increased the Pinocchio count because I really like when you can exert things. That allows the whole point of this deck is to have these attackers and then just cheap value.
And being able to send something, she gives +3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so being able to send a 4/1 Pinocchio at someone because they turned him when they came into play.
Exactly. So you could you can't, because when he comes into play, you can't use it, but following turn.
Oh, I thought it gave him Rush with her.
No, she doesn't give Rush. That's Madame Mim. But a really interesting tech that I'm absolutely stealing from him is the 3-cost Fairy Godmother, which is a 3/4, which was already in my deck. But I didn't even think about just running the Grey Cinderella with it. I just completely discounted the fact that she has this really relevant ability that says whenever you play a character named Cinderella, you may exert chosen character. So it does the same thing that Pinocchio does whenever you play a Cinderella after she's in play. And that, again, turns things around, and it's effectively I hate to say it, it's a survival card in that regard. And I did not give her the credit for that because it takes 2 cards.
Right.
So that's why it's not a true survival card. We'll talk about the other ones in a minute. This deck is a lot of fun. It runs Namari, which is nobody uses, but I've been waiting for this card to be broken wide open, and I think being able to attack active things when there's a Fairy Godmother in play, you turn with the Fairy Godmother, you can swing for 5 on something with her that is ready. So you're just controlling the board, and it's got Tinks, which is great, and
making Tink a 7/5.
Yes, sure. You can kill another thing,
and Beast can be a 10/5 because he gets this +7 if he's got.
And then if he dies for whatever reason, he can go right back to your hand. You can play him again, and then he can start drawing your cards again. It has a lot of fun lines of play, but it's effectively a bounce list with the Madame Mims and the foxes and the snakes. So there's a lot of sequencing and there's a lot of decision making. But you can effectively just ink 6 or 7, and you don't need to ink for the rest of the game. So I've been having a lot of fun with this. I wanted to give a shout out to him because this is mostly his. But it's a lot of fun, and I think that this is very competitive. I've been running it on the ladder. I'm 3-0 with it, which is not a huge sample size, and that was against 2 aggro lists, so that was their fault for playing aggro. But I did win against a popsicle as well, so it does. I feel. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm 3-1 because I did lose to a red purple bounce. He played back to back to back. Be prepared. I was not prepared for the third. Be prepared.
You were not prepared
for
the
first 2.
You were not prepared to be prepared.
Exactly. But it's been performing really well, and I would suggest giving it a run if you guys are interested. Again, we'll put that up on our Turn for 2 account on dreamboard.inc so you guys can have access to that. So one of our topics today is going to be sequencing. Yeah. We had talked about this as one of the things we wanted to cover. It's probably the most important thing in this game other than luck, which is something you can't control or don't have depending on who you are.
If your name starts with an R, ends with a B, and has an O in the middle of it, and your name is Rob, yeah.
Rohab. Anyway, sequencing is the order of yes, take that from me. The order of events of things that you can do in a turn. So in Lorcana, there are effectively 5 things you can do in your turn in any order, which is turning, which is questing for lore. You can ink a card. You can play, sing, or shift. They all do the same thing effectively. You can challenge when the opportunity presents itself, and you can use items and abilities. So you can do any of those 5 things in any order. Yep. The order that you do those things is extremely important in this game to get the best bang for your buck. I have seen a lot of people playing on ladder where I'm just like, oh, if you just would have done this or this first, that would have made such a big difference. And then I could have seen, well, what's the optimized game like? Right. But I also see people do things in a different order. And I learned from that. So the biggest example I have right now is bounce decks. There are so many key pieces and times, and I tend to teach you. I've taught lots of people. You always turn before you bounce if you're going to do that,
or attack if you need to. If you need to attack and then bounce, it's always a good idea to do that first.
Exactly. You want to do whatever you can do with that character before you bounce it to your hand.
Right.
Unless it's just, I guess that, especially if it's a Lilo or a Maleficent or a Pinocchio and they're just turning and you're bouncing them to your hand. So doing that in the correct order matters. Now, most people, when you're playing, like, oh, can I do that in a different order? They'll be like, yeah, sure.
No.
But when you're actually playing, you don't get to. It's like, sorry, you screwed up. That's not my fault.
Oh, I know. Don't worry. I know. I know all about screwing up and not being able to take it back.
And yeah, well, then you learn from it. It's very, very important. So the thing I wanted to bring up was sequencing for the fact of this game. If you sequence wrong, you're going to lose. It's very simple. As I was talking just previously about that amethyst steel list, there's a lot of crucial orders. There's a lot of, okay, I want to attack with the Captain Hook into your Cinderella, kill the Cinderella, I'll bounce the Captain Hook, I'll play the snake. That's just a turn 2 play, but that's still sequencing.
And that's a big play a lot of bounce decks have those big plays too, where it's like, you have to know how to sequence. I mean, if you're on turn 3 or 4, you have an Arthur and a goat, and you got to do all that stuff. It's like, you need to know what to do first. You don't want to, bounce the goat and then play the goat again, and then turn with Arthur and have to bounce the goat. It's like, you want to turn with the goat, bounce the goat, play the goat again, turn with Arthur.
Yes.
All that fun jazz.
Exactly, and that's one of the most important things about that particular deck, because if you do it in the wrong order, you're not getting any of that value. So I did come up with a couple of, I call them tips, take them or leave them. One of them is ink at the last possible moment. I see most people at the beginning of the turn, they're turning and they're putting ink in. If you need the ink to play the card you're about to play or the sequence of cards you're about to play, fine. But if it's a sequence of cards, you still don't need to ink until you play the first card.
Right.
You play the first card, whatever happens, happens. If you need to play another card, you can still ink and then play that card. It's just keeping options in your hand.
Right. And especially when you play cards, like if you play yellow or anything that draws cards, if you're going to do something in your sequence that lets you draw a card, there's no reason you shouldn't be drawing a card before you ink, because you could get something you do not need at all. Mm-hmm. You go, okay, I can ink this. I can now save this card for later.
That was literally my next concept. Yeah. And I love that you brought that up. Draw in this game is extremely important and less rare than it was in set 1.
Still is kind of rare.
It's still pretty rare, and if you're just drawing from the top of your deck, it's rough. But what you are saying is extremely important. If you have cards that you need to play, you need to make sure that you are playing them in the order of, okay, I want to play this, but I need to ink this. Do I need to ink this? Oh, wait, I'm going to draw cards first. Then I can ink that. Then I can play that card. Right. So you got to know the order that you can do it almost in reverse and then do it. And I'm glad that you said that. The other thing that I was going to say is don't always ink. I've played against a lot of people where they have one card, they're just inking it.
Yeah.
They'll ink a 3-cost, I don't know. Let's find a random 3-cost on here.
Mickey Mouse, Steamboat Pilot.
Sure. And it's a 3/4. Okay, if they're at 6 ink, just play the thing. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Right. It's not like when you're playing Red or something, you have a Maleficent and it's your second turn and it's like, okay, it makes sense to ink that.
I've seen people going into like 15, 16 inks. Obviously, this is a blue deck that does it. But why?
Yeah.
You have 2 cards in your hand. You're not going. Do you have 2 8-costs in your hand? I don't see why people just constantly ink.
Double Hades.
I guess that's also only 14. I just see a lot of overusage of cards like the ink quill. What is? I'm sorry.
Fishbone quill.
Fishbone quill. Thank you. Where it's turn 9 and they're already at 11 and they're fishboning and inking. I just don't. Those are resources you put in the deck to play, not to just have the biggest pile of ink. That is something I don't understand. So what I was thinking was that sort of sweet spot that you can find.
Yeah.
I think Emerald Steel, for me, it's like 6 or 7 is really all you need. Every once in a while, do you want to play 6-cost tank and a 3-cost Cheshire Cat? Sure. So maybe 9, but I really feel you can run very effectively at 6 or 7, and you have multiple plays that you can do, and you're playing something every turn. And also holding back cards, because remember, be prepared is a thing.
Yeah.
So you don't want to overcommit to the board if you're playing against red, or if you know that there's some sort of sweep strategy going on. Ruby Amethyst, for instance, is another one. I feel that sweet spot is minimum of 7 because you need to get to 7 for Be Prepared.
Yeah.
But then there is 8 for Elsa. There is 9 for the dragon. So that is one. Yeah, sure. You gotta kind of want to ink every turn with that. But that is that color. That is what those colors are about. Steel Song is another one. If you are going
7,
above,
I think.
exactly 7 or 8, maybe 8 again, just to open up a couple of little lines
to
of play.
You
might not
Cindy and a Lilo
Cindy
or
and a
something.
Cindy,
yeah,
or Cindy and a Lilo. But you don't need to keep inking. So take the cards that you have and play them. Use them to advance your game state. You don't need to have that much ink. Now, you have to find what that sweet spot is, and the only way you can do that is using your specific deck.
Yeah.
You'll know, okay, once I get to 7, I can play pretty much everything I need to. I have not needed 8. I have not needed 9. And I think that's a very important thing to figure out.
Yeah.
Another thing that I wanted to say as far as quote-unquote tips are concerned, challenge early in the turn.
Yeah.
I think that if you already know you're going to challenge and you already know what you're going to challenge with, doesn't change from the cards in your hand. You've already made that evaluation. It's interesting to kind of just stop combat math from being weird. So you understand, okay, I'm going to hit this for that much. Either this is going to be dead and I'll know what resources I have. I just feel like if you can come up with an order that's doing it, and if you're inking late and you're challenging early, that really only leaves the couple things left for you to do in the middle. You got to and the last thing I want to talk about is to turn or not to turn. That is the question. Whether 'tis no, but no, okay, I'm not going to do that. If you care if something dies, be careful if you're going to turn it. Yeah. If you don't care if it dies, every single turn, just turn with it. I see people just leave things up. They'll leave there's
Lilo.
A Lilo. No, you have to turn with a Lilo. They'll leave a Captain Hook, like the 1-cost Captain Hook, again, the one I was using, and they won't turn with it. The second turn that it's in play. So are you really scared I'm going to kill your Captain Hook? I mean, yes, you're not getting the 3 damage out of them, so sure, if their board state really shows it. But I feel like if you're just getting a little lore early, that's helpful. But again, that's deck dependent. I just think that there's some people don't even think about it. They just don't think about inking, and they don't think about turning. They just do it. There's like an order. They do it every time, and I feel like you can get a lot better at the game by that simple change. But that's all that I have to say about sequencing. I think it's really important. It's a much deeper topic. I'm trying to just kind of do surface level stuff here. But it brings up another topic we'll talk about next week, which is value, which value matters during sequencing, but that's a whole different concept. We'll talk about that next week.
And with that, we can get into our final fun little holiday segment here. So for this last little segment that we're gonna do here, it's gonna be kind of guess that flavor text of some Lorcana cards.
I'm very excited about
Thought
this.
it'd be a good way to end out the. Is this the last episode of the year?
It's 2000. So 7 days from now is the 30th. Depends when we cast it, but the next one will not be.
No, so this will come out on Tuesday.
Until Tuesday the 2nd. So this is the last one of the year.
Yeah. So
happy 2023, everyone.
Yeah, happy end of 2023, and we'll have a new year, new something episode.
52 more podcasts.
Yeah. So we're just gonna jump right into this. I've picked out 15 cards of varying difficulty that I picked out throughout the past week, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So we're gonna just go here and.
I did not study. Let me preface this. I could have just gone through all these cards and been like, oh, I know that one, I know that one, I know that one. That is not fun. So I don't need to study anymore. Yeah. I'm super over that. But I'm excited to see what because I have read the flavor text of every card.
Yep.
But I have not memorized everything. So I'm excited to see if these things kind of like ring bells or whatever. So we have jingle bells, if you will.
We have 3 lifelines that you can use. The first one will be what color is the card.
Yep.
The second one will be what is the describer, so stuff like Storyborn, Floodborn, Hero, Prince,
Item,
Princess,
things like that. Okay.
Well, that's also
I should be able to guess if it is an
item. And then lastly, if Rob is really that stumped, it will be movie. What movie it is from.
Okay.
So we'll get right into it with one that I think you should be able to get pretty easily. A falling star. I have to make a wish.
Oh, that's Lilo.
There you go. Okay.
That's definitely Lilo. I've read that one multiple times. That was my first play set of foils.
Every time someone plays it against you, you should be reading that card.
No, I read, okay, where's my nearest 1-2 to kill it?
Sometimes our strength lies beneath the surface, far beneath in some cases.
That's hey. That's the line that Mulan says from...
Mulana.
Mulana. That's what Moana says specifically, and she says it so well. It's like far beneath the surface. Oh, that's funny. Okay. 2 for 2.
2 for 2. We got, while you have... Oh, wait. Whoa! Let me just read the text of the...
Uh-oh.
A true friend is always there for you, whether you can see them or not. Here we go.
That one stumps me.
Got him thinking.
Okay. Say it one more time, please.
A true friend is always there for you, whether you can see them or not.
Jiminy Cricket.
It's not.
Damn it.
Do you want to go through some of the...
Let's go lifelines. Right. What color is it?
Purple.
Oh my god. Well, Jiminy Cricket, I already said it.
Oh, actually, I guess one of the other ones we could use before the movie being like the Hail Mary is what set it's from.
Okay.
Because I think
that narrows it down in half.
Do you want the set first or the...
Sure, set me.
Set 1.
Okay. It's purple set 1 card. Oh, man. All right, give me my next lifeline.
It is a Storyborn ally.
Ally? So all of these so far describe Jiminy Cricket. I just want to say that.
I can give you another hint.
Okay.
It is a 1-cost 1/1 that turns for 1.
A 1-cost 1/1 that turns for 1?
Yep.
It has to have an ability.
Yep. That's what I started reading the first time when I said, while you have. Actually, let me read its ability.
Okay,
you might be able
sure. I'll just...
While you have another character in play, this character gains evasive.
Pascal? Really? Oh. Those are all the descriptors for Jiminy Cricket. Other than that, okay, got me.
I thought he had evasive too. I think he's a 1/2 though. Jiminy Cricket's a 1/2.
Right. Well, until you hit the 1/1, correct? Yeah. All right. I thought I was going to get the whole thing. Now I'm sad.
What I believe you were trying to say is thank you.
Maui, of course. Now I have to figure out which. It's one of 2 Mauis.
Wowies.
The red Maui doesn't have text, so that's got to be the gray Maui.
Red Maui has text.
It does?
It's right there.
Oh.
Right at the bottom of the card.
Guess I did not know that one, but I knew it was Maui. That's an obvious one.
Nothing says hello better than a fresh baked pie.
I agree with that. Fresh baked pie. That's like a Minnie Mouse thing. Fresh baked pie. Like 3.14 or like the food? All right, give me color. Or no, wait, what was the first thing you said?
Color. But I'm going to group color and set together. I think
Fine.
It's a yellow set 2 card.
Yellow set 2 card. Pie. Who else makes pies? Snow White?
Yep, Snow White, unexpected house guest.
Yes.
All right, I'm saving. You know what? This was supposed to be the one that this should be super easy.
I love that.
Blank felt quite confused.
That was it?
No, I just wanted to see if you could get it from off of that.
Oh.
But I don't see much ink here at all. How could the flood still be changing the inklands?
Cheshire Cat.
I was going to say, all I probably had read was things are always changing, you know. So
if they didn't, that would be a change.
It would be quite a change if they didn't.
Yep. All right. That one is one I've read multiple times. I should have got that. I did get it. But
it'll do magic, believe it or not.
It'll do magic, believe it or not. Is it an item?
It's not an item. Do you want me to give you the descriptors for it?
Yeah, give me the descriptors.
It is an action song. I guess all of the songs are
It's action. A song?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel terrible now.
You thought you had an idea of what it was?
Say, what's it one more time?
It'll do magic, believe it or not.
I don't know.
It is a green set 2 card.
Bibbidi bobbidi boo. It'll do magic, believe it or not. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. Ah, crap.
See, it's fun giving you these super playable cards you talk about all the time.
I just started talking about this, and to be fair, I should have known that. I should have known that. I don't have any. I got no excuses.
I'm afraid that you've gone and upset me.
I'm afraid you've gone and upset me. I have no...
It is a action.
Action. It can't be Dragonfire.
Nope.
Okay. It's because Dragonfire should be... give me more.
What did it say on your dragon proxy?
My dragon... Boom.
Boom. That's all. It is a green set 2 card.
A green set 2 card. One more time with the words.
I'm afraid that you've gone and upset me.
Is it Ring the Bell? Okay.
That was one of the ones I didn't know the movies from. That I had to look that one up.
That's
Great Mouse Detective.
Is that Great Mouse Detective? Yeah.
This goes into my top 10 most fun things.
This goes into my top 10 most fun things.
This is one of the ones I think is going to be a little more.
I'm very sad that I don't know any of these today. Or ever. So
it is a Dreamborn hero.
Ooh, a Dreamborn hero.
I wouldn't classify them as a hero, but go off.
Hero is the
good
main protagonist, good person in the movie.
Which is why I don't think this is a hero, because they're not a protagonist. I mean, I guess they are. You want me to
give me the quote one more time?
This goes into my top 10 most fun things.
This goes into my top 10 most fun things. Yeah, give me more. I got nothing.
It is a red set 2 card.
A red set 2 card? Oh, you're really stumping me now. I don't know. Give me more. Wait, is it Scar?
Nope.
Okay.
What else can I give you that's not just... It is a 3-cost 1/3 that is inkable.
A 3-cost inkable 1/3
Turns for 2.
Turns for 2? Oh, the mini.
Yep.
Okay.
I was gonna say, if I say evasive, it'll give it away, and if I say I traded it to you earlier, it'll give it away.
Yeah.
Oh, and then that's the next thing, because that was the end of what I did yesterday.
Oh, Pikachu running. Love that. All right, so what else do we got?
That one's last. That one's gonna be the hardest one.
Great, because I've done so well so far.
You know what? Fine, we can go with that one. Walk smarter, not harder.
Walk smarter, not harder?
I can tell you while we were doing cooking time or one of the other segments,
this
was like it was right here in the list of cards. So I will give you the small hint right now, is it was a green or blue card.
Oh, and it's got to have 3 power, because that was
3 or more power.
Right. There's like 2 that have 4, so it's 3. A green, blue. One more time with the quote.
Walk smarter, not harder.
Walk smarter, not harder.
It's actually pretty thematic to the image if you saw the image.
I need more. Give me more.
It is a blue set 1 card.
Blue set 1 card. Walk smarter.
I feel like if I tell you it has ward, you won't get it, so I will tell you it has ward.
I won't get it if it has ward.
I just don't think you would know what it is. It's not a very played card.
That's another really good hint that I feel should have gotten there.
It turns for 2. It is a 5-cost inkable 4/3.
It is a 4/3. That's rude.
That turns for 2.
I can't think of a 4/3 that turns for 2.
Do you want me to give you?
Where's my deck building thing?
That's cheating. You can't look.
Right.
You want me to give you one hint that you might
never
know?
Get it.
It's
so
it's
sad.
It's like subname is strutting his stuff.
Pete?
No.
Who's strutting? I don't know. I lose.
Dave?
Really?
Nope. Dave. Other Dave. Card. Quack.
Where is it?
It's not up there. It's a 4 cost.
It's the sleeping.
No, it's the mech one. The one with him in the mech.
Oh,
Walk smarter, not harder.
I never would have got that.
That was the one I thought was going to be the
very hard one. So that's the 4/3 Donald.
It was sitting like right here, and you were like talking about this. I'm like looking at it like, oh god, he's just gonna like start reading flavor texts for fun. It was right there.
Wow. Okay. Anyway, let me minimize this again. That's sad. Okay, so that was, I don't even know what the count is, but it's low.
Appearances can be deceiving. This is a card you play a lot of.
Appearances can be deceiving. It's got to be.
It was also in that.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's even worse. I need more.
It is a green Dreamborn Sorcerer from set 2.
Wow, I feel like that should be enough. A green Dreamborn Sorcerer from set 2.
You have a lot of foils of this card.
Is it the Queen?
Nope.
With the apple? No.
You do have a lot of foils of this card.
It's a green card I have a lot of foils with.
From set 2.
And it's not the Enchantress. Because
it is the Enchantress.
Oh, I thought that was not the right cost.
It's 2 cost 1/1.
Oh, you didn't give me cost.
I didn't give you a cost. I don't know.
In my mind, it was a 3 cost.
You were thinking of the Queen.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so Enchantress, I kind of got that.
He may be hard to follow, but his heart isn't. He may be hard to follow, but his heart isn't.
Hard to follow, but his heart.
I just realized how thematic that is to the movie with the background of this card that I'll point out to you after.
Is it Beast?
Nope. It is a 5 cost 3/3 that turns for 3. That should give it to you.
A 5 cost 3. Oh, it's Ray.
Yeah. Which
I just thought of the words on it.
I realized his little star that he thought was the girl that he was into is in the background of the card.
That's really cool.
Her feelings are written all over the place.
All over the place?
Her feelings are written all over her face.
All over her face.
Just realized I read that wrong.
Oh, God. Her feelings are written all over her face. Is it Lady Tremaine?
It is a storyborn villain, though.
Oh. Mother Gothel.
Yep.
That's what I meant to say.
Which
the red,
Mother Gothel?
The red one.
Yep, okay.
That's what I meant to say, but I said Lady Tremaine.
Don't mistake spirit for skill.
Oh, that's also a villain.
Nope.
Damn it.
Storyborn mentor and king.
Benja.
Yep. All right, last one. This should be, although I think you read this one earlier. Keep your tempo.
That is.
You read it when I said
accidentally
Dave.
read
Yeah.
that. I'm sorry.
I thought that would stump you because I'm like, if he really.
No, that's actually one I did know because I remembered when I was putting it in that deck. I was like, wow, this is very straightforward. But it's a card about a worm that mostly smokes a hookah, and I feel
that plays a saxophone.
Yeah, I don't know how he's keeping tempo. I feel like he's always in space. All right, I did very badly.
I gave you the easy ones in the beginning, and it just slowly got.
It felt like it was going to be. I have read all of these, but it felt like it was going to be a little easier to recall.
When you can't look at them, it's a lot tougher.
Well, this may be a segment we have to bring back because I feel that I owe myself the service of doing that.
Yeah,
again. But
maybe we can start a point system like some other fun podcasts.
Oh, that's true. That would be an interesting kind of little addition.
But with that, we are closing out our Nightmare After Christmas episode. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you for all of the support we've gotten.
Yes, and thank you for a great end of 2023, start of our podcast, and cheers to a great 2024.
Yes, and same to that. And I thank you for starting this. I'm having a lot of fun.
Yes.
Looking forward to keeping this going, guys.